I met a Gypsy.
The craziest thing I think I've ever seen motorcycle-wise was I went to Trentino this year to watch the MXGP.
Yeah.
And so Febvre's bike, I don't know, I'll ask if I can talk about it and I'll delete it if I have to, but they have the factory frame on his new, they built that new 24 Cowie, right?
Yeah.
And so all the top tube, all that to the basically the V, on like the bottom cradle of the frame. The bottom cradle of that frame was CNC machined, right? So they were just taking all this metal out to get the flex, and you could hear it thump. Like you could hear the chassis absorbing bumps. Like it was the crazy, and like I'm standing there at the end of they've got a finish line, and then it was just these gnarly bumps coming into a left-hander, and then out. And
you can just the energy of the bumps in the bike, you could hear it. Yeah.
And like you hear Hurlings come past, Prado come past, and it was just like a mechanical like clanging of you could hear the rigidity and everything slapping.
And then his was more like a thump.
And it was the craziest. And so then I was talking to Tucker about it, and he's like, "Oh, it's CNC machined, and it's only going to last X amount of hours." And I'm just like, "Wow!" And what a Febvre would say is that you just feel comfort through your feet.
Yeah.
Like you can feel the chassis kind of giving. And then, like the extreme example of that is like you get on a 03 YZ250 and you kickstart the bike and it literally feels like it's flexing at the subframe, the swing arm pivot bolt.
But then in like, in not hindsight, but, looking at it differently, with Febvre's bike, like you were talking about, like that, you take that to Supercross, it might
no, you can't.
It's going to be like the old KTM chassis where it's like, it's great when it's
a rubber band.
Low whoops and it's a hard packed track because it's got the grip, and that's what you usually see. I mean, when they get to like the dry slick, super hard packed tracks, the softer chassis are going to work better. They're just going to have more grip, more feel, and all that kind of stuff. But when you're running these whoops that are 4.5 foot tall or something, you can't have that.
Did you have much to do with any of the sort of top level moto guys back then?
No, I mean I had a lot of friends, kind of because we were sharing.
Texas is a pretty good area.
Yeah, and then when we were with Suzuki, half of the race shop was road, half of it was moto, and that was, Ricky was there.
Because it was Makita Suzuki when you were on it. Yep.
So like Ricky was there, Tedesco was there, like Brock Hepler, Millsaps, a lot of those guys. So I got to, kind of get to know them and watch them ride and all that stuff.
When you retired, you got to kind of like live a bit of a moto fantasy for a bit.
Yeah, because I motoed a little bit. When I was a kid, I was no good at it. Like jumping, I couldn't get to grips with it. Yeah, it was just I sucked. I was a good flat tracker, but I wasn't a good moto rider. And then when I was like 16, 17, I kind of got better with it, started having more fun. And then I did ride a lot, in the 06 and 07 season. Then I separated my shoulder before the season, 2 weeks before the season, and actually raced the whole season with it separated. That was my first title in 06. And so rode a lot then, and then when I signed with Yamaha, I couldn't ride. They wouldn't let it.
Really?
So, and I was kind of in Europe too, so it was a different thing. I didn't have all my stuff, and so yeah, I just wasn't really into it as much. And then when I retired, I started riding again, and it was one of those things where I couldn't ride too long at just 100%, but I could move around and it was fun. And I had my old track at, my land that I used to train on and kind of fixed it up. And Casey came over and we rode a lot and had some fun.
He can ride a moto good.
Yeah. No, he's got that feel. I mean, again, we both weren't great jumpers. I was a little bit more comfortable than him, but anytime you were on the ground, it was on, we had some good little battles out there. It was fun. We
went riding. It was actually a couple of years ago now. Pretty much made him buy a 450 after the podcast. I was like, bro, what are you doing? Yeah. And you go out and the like the corner speed. Yeah. And like the way that Troy Herfoss is the same, actually. He rides like really...
He raced in America some.
Yeah.
I remember him.
Yeah, he raced He was actually going to race an Australian national before I came over here. We were training.
Oh, so he rolls then.
Oh, rolls
like Jake Gagne fast.
Yeah, like I don't know what he would have got. Like just because the track gets so gnarly, but if you put him on like a normal track, a normal day, like a practice day, not like a national, I'd say he would be able to go a pretty solid speed. I think once shit starts getting
gnarly, gnarly, the knee-deep ruts and stuff like that.
It's just because you don't do it as much. Like even I've been riding Glen Helen every week I've been here, and then I rode it on Saturday, and I went there at 12 o'clock, and it was a different track that I'd ever rode, and I'm like, okay, so there's levels, but as far as a guy being able to run a really good pace, like he is insane, but you can just see the way that you guys see corners is a lot different to the way a moto guy sees corners, the way that you turn in the bike, the way that, like even, Herfoss, that was his big thing, is like, oh, I'm just trying to get the weight transfer. Like, I just got to get that right. Like, that's everything to him in a motorcycle or motocross bike or any motorcycle, where other people or more moto people, like, sort of don't really care. Yeah. But there's such a cool way you guys look at corners and corner speed, and it's just,
and it depends what type of corner it is. If it's kind of an open flatter turn, it's obviously a little bit different. When it gets all deep rutted and everything, that's when the experience goes out the window. But now there's again, like I brought up Gagne. I don't know if you know about him riding moto, but dude, I've never seen him, but he rolls. I mean, it was a few years ago now, maybe 3 years ago, something like that, maybe 4 years ago, but he rode a factory Yamaha in an outdoor at Salt Lake City, that track that they had inside the racetrack. No shit. And he ran an AMA National and didn't finish last. Like, he hurt his knee, I think, and he didn't ride Moto 2, but like he finished like 25th or something in a 450 moto. And I mean, I know he's always ridden and stuff, but he kind of got that bike, put in a little bit of time and did it. And for a road racer to do that, I mean, I don't know anybody else that's done that fast.
We're excited to announce the launch of our new membership site, gypsytales.com, packed with exclusive content and perks that you won't find anywhere else. This is your chance to become a part of the Gypsy Gang. And as a special bonus, if you sign up to an annual membership, you'll be entered into the draw to win our custom-built TC125. Gypsy Gang.